to each one of you. On behalf of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome each one of you to this awareness session on MSME financial assistance in the wake of the COVID-19 announced by Government of India. In time like this, we need to stay connected and stay positive. This session is being organized under the aegis of Banking, Finance and Corporate Affairs Expert Committee of BCIC. We would like to specially thank Mr. Ganesh Swaminathan, Chair, and Dr. K.V. Om Prakash, Co-Chair, Banking, Finance and Corporate Affairs Expert Committee of BCIC, for curating this session for the benefit of our members at this crucial period. The speaker for today's session, from a government perspective, we have with us Mr. S. Ziaula, IS, presently holding the charge of Registrar of Corporate Society in Karnataka and Director MSME Government of Karnataka. He has served many departments from 1997 till date. He was a Deputy Commissioner of Mandya, Belgavi, and has held various positions in different departments of Karnataka. From an industry perspective, we have with us Mr. D. Murlidhar, a chartered accountant by qualification, but chosen as an industrialist by running an industry by name of Sanam Group of Companies, with 5 manufacturing facilities and a standalone world-class R&D center in India, and has a manufacturing facility in Vietnam and China. He is a whole-time director in Sanam Group of Companies, president of Abrasive Manufacturers Association of India, Chennai, past president of FKCCI, and Hosur Industries Association, Hosur. From a banker's perspective, we have with us Mr. Sudhanshu Dash, Deputy General Manager, SME Department, State Bank of India, with over 30 years of experience in bank, both large and medium corporate credits. From an NSIC perspective, we have with us Mr. Srivatsan, Deputy General Manager of NSC Bangalore. He has over 22 years of experience in MSME domain and has served in various capacities. From a financial institution perspective, we have with us Mr. Chandramouli, Deputy General Manager, SIDBI. He has a diverse experience of over 28 years in both private and public sector organizations in various geography across India. Earlier was a deputation as a Chief Operating Officer at Receivable Exchange of India, which is a joint venture promoted by SIDBI and National Stock Exchange. The session will be moderated by Dr. K.V. Om Prakash, Co-Chair, Banking, Finance and Corporate Affairs Expert Committee of BCIC, and Advocate and Founder, Director, Consortia Consult. On behalf of BCIC, we express our sincere thanks to Mr. Ziaula, Mr. D. Murlidhar, Mr. Sudhanshu Dash, Mr. Srivatsan, and Mr. Chandramouli for accepting our invitation to address this important subject. We also would like to thank all the participants for joining us for today's session on a weekend. We would also like to acknowledge and thank ASA and Associates and State Bank of India for supporting for today's virtual panel discussion. We request all of you to kindly mute your mic and webcam option. I request only the panelists to keep on their webcam options on. This will enhance to keep the bandwidth strong as well as avoid any unwanted disturbance in the background. Please post your questions in the chat box only. Also be viewing the chat box for any specific instruction given by the organizer from time to time. The speakers will respond to the questions during the session, or in case time do not permit, we shall be sharing the queries to the panelists and shall revert back to you accordingly. Kindly note the organizers will be disconnecting to those participants who switch on their mic or webcam dispute a frequent request. May I now invite Dr. K.V. Om Prakash to set the context for today's subject and also moderate the session. Thanking you all once again to all. May I request Dr. K.V. Om Prakash to start.
I warmly welcome everybody, especially the speakers who have given the time slot to come and address their views, as the MSMEs are in great trouble, are running a rough phase, and also in this wake of pandemic COVID-19, everything is uncertain, but our finance minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman in the month of May, middle of the May, made some announcements about 3 lakh crores of money being distributed to the MSME. So this amountment has created more anxiety among the MSMEs, and all the entrepreneurs, especially the MSME sector, is very curious as to how they will benefit this scheme. And there are a lot of misconceptions, confusions among a lot of entrepreneurs and MSME. And the state of Karnataka has formulated and constituted a task force wherein it is able to monitor the disbursement, the eligibility criteria among the MSMEs, and in this task force, representatives of various organizations, associations, banks, and also the director MSME directorate is also involved in this. He is driving the whole task force, and we have already met twice and have been able to see the developments. And in by virtue of that task force, we have now convened a webinar for creating awareness among the minds of the MSME to bring some clarity about various aspects of this scheme. And that's why we have eminent speakers here. And now I will quickly move on to the speakers, those who have come. And Prithvi, Mr. Jiawla has come, or we have to wait? Hello, Sham?
Sir, it is clear, sir.
No. Has Mr. Jiawla come? How is it? Okay, now I would request Mr. Chandramouli Vemura, Regional In Charge, SIDBI Bangalore, to share his views, highlighting eligibility criteria and briefing on the schemes from SIDBI's perspective. On to you, Mr. Chandramouli. Mr. Chandramouli.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Om Prakash.
Yeah, we are able to hear you. Please continue, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Om Prakash, Chamber of Commerce, co-panelists, and everybody. We all know these are challenging times and important times, but MSME entrepreneurs, being entrepreneurs, they're born to take challenge. We are one with them. COVID is one of the periods. Always there is a challenge, and they face the challenge with smiling face, and the ecosystem definitely will support. Coming soon to the topic in hand, after this crisis, the important aspect was to help MSMEs basically to regroup and start. So those who were having loans, the immediate aspect was to open up, start the business, start their operations, meet the immediate challenges of making payments to workers, procure minimal raw material, and all those things. So at that time, the immediate requirement was to see that the loan commitments should not be an important worrying aspect. So the regulatory agencies and the ecosystem came to their support thanks to RBI. Moratorium was extended initially for period March to May, and subsequently till August. So to that extent, many of the units availed a moratorium in payments, repayments, and in that worry was addressed to an extent. Subsequently, Government of India FM, as has been mentioned, came out with schemes to ameliorate the situation by a string of aspects helping the MSMEs, namely 3 lakh crore emergency credit guarantee line was announced to meet various aspects, which I will briefly explain. Apart from that, a sub-date for stressed MSMEs has been announced. MSME definition has been reworked. It has been announced that there will not be any global tenders for up to rupees 200 crores, which was a step to help the MSMEs. And e-market linkages aspects have also been improved. At present, I'm also happy to announce SIDBI has joined to see that whoever wants to join threads under any of the 3 platforms, MSMEs, the registration fees will be waived. That aspect also has been widely publicized. Now, coming to this emergency credit guarantee line, this aspect is a credit guarantee cover which has been extended through NCGTC, which is a SIDBI's wing, similar to CGTMSE, to provide cover and assurance to the bankers to go forward and assist the MSMEs. The scheme broadly tells that the emergency credit line guarantee scheme shall be providing 100% guarantee cover for additional working capital term loans in case of banks and financial institutions, and by way of additional term loans in case of NBFCs, up to 20% of their entire outstanding credit, up to rupees 25 crores. That works out to 20% of that works out to a maximum of rupees 5 crore. And the cutoff date set out was as on Feb 29, 2020. So the conditionalities of that I will quickly brief, so that which many are aware, it will be a rejig of those things. The purpose of the scheme is broadly, the purpose would be to restart the business and continue operations of the MSMEs which has taken a hit during COVID-19 pandemic, and the proceeds of the loan would be to be utilized for various purposes, which includes meeting their overheads, MSMEs, meeting the payment of salaries to employees, electricity bills, statutory dues, minor capital expenditure, purchase of raw material, clearing unpaid creditors, meeting gap between delayed realization of receivables, and etc. bona fide expenditure of the MSME enterprise, except any personal expenditure of the promoters. This is to revive the operations of the unit. The scheme would be through the guidelines of NCGTC. The eligible borrowers under the scheme, all business enterprises and MSME borrower accounts with combined outstanding loans across MLIs, member lending institutions, MLIs, up to 25 crores as on 29 February 2020, with an annual turnover of up to rupees 100 crore, are eligible for coverage under the scheme. Loans provided to business enterprises, MSMEs under various constitutions are eligible. PMMI, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana assistance also eligible under the scheme. The other aspect is, as on 29 February 2020, the account should have been standard up to SMA1. It means to say SMA2 accounts and NPA accounts as on 29 Feb 2020 are not eligible for coverage. Now, lending institutions have to provide the loan. The loan is covered by lending institutions, means all commercial banks and NBFCs are eligible for coverage. Now, this is in the form of working capital term loan in case of banks and FIs, and a term loan in case of NBFCs. This facility granted under GECL, Guaranteed Emergency Credit Line, shall rank second charge with the existing facilities and securities with respect to whatever has been earlier availed. No additional collateral shall be asked for the additional funding by GE under this scheme. No guarantee fee will be charged, and the tenure of the loan would be for a period of 4 years from the date of first disbursement. No prepayment penalty shall be charged in case of early payment. Moratorium of 1 year on the principal amount shall be extended. The account shall be operated in combination with any other interest subvention schemes whichever available. So I am trying to give a brief about how much is eligible, what are the conditionalities, who is giving the cover in NCGTC, and what are the eligibility criterion. Many more aspects you may be having in mind. As we move forward, we can take these points and discuss. I hope I have given a brief account. Om Prakash sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for your insight on the various schemes under this major disbursement, and we really appreciate your talk on the facilities available, the moratorium, the collateral details, and eligibility criteria. It's really helpful for us. Now, as and when the question and answers session starts, maybe members will ask you some more questions so that you can take up and address. Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite our Mr. D. Muralidhar, the CEO, SNAM Abrasives Private Limited, from the industry perspectives. Expected.
Sorry to intervene, Mr. Om Prakash. Director Ziaullah has joined the
in availing loans. Mr. Muralidhar?
Yeah. Om Prakash, can you hear me?
Good
yes,
morning.
I can hear you. Please tell me.
Yeah, can you hear me, Mr. Om Prakash? Good morning to all of you.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Thank Mr. Prithvi and Mr. Om Prakash for giving me this opportunity to talk to some of your members. I'm also a member of BCIC. I've seen Mr. Crasto also there, and other leading members are present there. I've also seen senior DGM from State Bank, SIDBI, and NSIC, and the government officer, Mr. Zayal, is also joining. Well, you know, there has been so much of all-around despondency because of the COVID situation. I thought, because I didn't want to start my talk on a negative note, I thought I will just start my note on a positive note. You see, compared to what we were 3 months ago and what we are today, the situation has improved by bounds. Lot of indications are there for the green shoots, as they call it. Some of the aspects of the economy where we can see clearly that the revival is taking place. You know, other things which we should be really be happy about are the happenings on the geo-global situation. Like oil prices are very reasonable today. The balance of trade is in India's favor for the first time after so many years. $500 billion plus of foreign exchange reserves. Very, very good agriculture monsoons are there, and agriculture production, and complete liberalization of agriculture marketing and contract farming. I know GST passes issued and GST collections in the last month is a good augury. Then, like this, there are many aspects of the Indian economy which are showing up. On top of it, there is everybody is aware of the Chinese anger among all the countries, and more so with a place like India. And so more and more of business is going to be brought back to Indian shores. So this is a good augury for everybody, whoever is involved in the business. But today's Economist, there is a huge, cover page article, and which says that the business is not going to come back to 100% normal. They have titled as 90% economy. That means even after we see the COVID behind us, the economy is going to be only 90% as big as what it was before COVID. But in case of India, there have been many predictions about the growth rates being lower. You see, I just saw so many agencies in the world are tracking the growth. Moody's, Fitch, S&P, OECD, IMF, ADB, World Bank. Everybody is saying that the growth rate for the country could be lower by about 3.5 to 6%. But my own workout is that we have already lost 2 months, and we are only gradually revival of economy is taking place. So minimum of 15% of degrowth in the Indian economy is what I expect for the year 2021. So this is going to be a challenge for MSMEs, but you should also look at the flip side of the coin and say that good times are going to come back, and we can be behind this. Having said this, the first thing is for the MSMEs is to survive. Then the revival comes in. The survival of the MSMEs is the most important aspect, because anybody, Jack Ma told that this year, if any industry any business can survive and be kicking after the end of the COVID by December, you should consider that it is a successful operation, and they have made huge amounts of profits. So the instinct to survive is the biggest challenge today. Before we talk about that, I would like to just again flag one of the recent data points which I was reading in one of the leading interviews, which says in the next 10 years, India is going to generate so much of wealth which was generated in the last 70 to 72 years since independence. I mean, this is mind-blowing. If somebody can be in the business for the next 10 years and successfully do the business in the next 10 years, you can generate as much as profits, wealth, and everything what people have done it in the last 70 years. I mean, there is such a huge opportunity for everybody who is in business. There are too many numbers floating about what is the contribution of SMEs and how many number of SMEs are there in the country, and what is their contribution to the exports, GDP. Every agency has given one number, and there is no specific agreement as to which is right. But one thing is sure, that the whole country's economy, one way or the other, depends on the SMEs. If the large industries are the front end of the economy, the back end of the economy is the SMEs. Without SMEs, no large industry, no large economic activity can take place. So irrespective of the numbers, what we are talking about SMEs, it is most important to know that SMEs are the backbone. Without SMEs doing well, large industries, large economic activity, whether in services or in manufacturing or even in agriculture, will become a challenge. So the government and all the people connected with the SMEs must bear this in mind. They must support SMEs so that they survive and they revive and they start growing. Then only we can make this suggestion or make this prediction of generating equal wealth in the next 10 years equivalent to the last 70 years? Well, because SMEs, 89% of the SMEs are micro businesses with 2 people or 3 people employed. So that puts a lot of pressure on them, because SMEs are, they are most disorganized sector. We don't have any one solution fits all the SMEs. Each SME has to be or each group of SMEs or each SME or each cluster or each type of SME, each type of business has its own problems and its own solutions. So if we have to support them, it has to be a complex solution. But having said that, but there are a lot of things which are common for most of the SMEs which the government and the bureaucracy can look into. The major, I really don't want to go into the stimulus package that was announced by Nirmala Sitharaman, because the previous speaker went into minute details, and he explained how the SMEs can avail of the bank facilities for furthering additional working capital and term loans. But only thing I want to mention here is this stimulus package applies only to the SMEs who are banking. There are any number of SMEs with 1 or 2 employees who do not provide, who do not have a proper accounting, who do not do banking transactions, who do not borrow money from the banking industry. There is the problem, and how this problem has to be tackled is $1 million question. Because even if the government wants to provide some stimulus, how do you reach this stimulus to the deserving people is a big challenge. And I think everybody has to put their heads together to see where and how we can support this micro industries, which are about 89% of the total MSME in the country. Well, I have flagged a couple of issues where SMEs can be supported. Which are the present challenges and how it can be tackled. And then I come to the survey which we did through our research wing, where we talked to some about a small group of MSMEs to find out how they have responded to this stimulus package announced by Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. As rightly diagnosed, inadequate finance is one of the first points where MSMEs suffer, especially micro industries. Even if you provide additional finance, I think the whole lending ecosystem has to realize that the cost of finance for the MSMEs in India is very high. If you look at the rate of interest for the top 20 G20 countries with which we are competing in the world for exports and for all kinds of services and other things, our interest rates is the highest, second highest after Turkey in the top 20 G20 countries. So there is a tremendous amount of scope for the interest rates to come down by another 250 to 300 basis points. I do not know whether the bankers on this panel, State Bank of India, would agree with me, but unfortunately, this is the fact that our interest costs in India are one of the highest in the world, and this puts a lot of pressure. One is availability, another is the cost. So we have to find some solution for this. The second is the distribution of MSMEs is across the country, not only in the cities or not only in the industrial estates. It's across the city, across the country, even in 2-tier cities, 3-tier cities, 4-tier cities. So the infrastructure available for them, I know even in slightly remote industrial estates of KIDB in Karnataka, the power problems are tremendous, power outages are tremendous. So the basic things like power, imagine if MSME is struggling to survive, if power is not there, he cannot get a power from generator because it's expensive, then the whole thing goes for a toss. So this basic thing, it has to be fixed immediately. We are in a situation where there is, for the first time, like many other aspects, power is in a surplus situation in the country, and even in Karnataka we have a surplus power, but the distribution challenges are really putting the MSME and other industries into a corner. This is where you have to focus. The third point is the compliances. Everybody forgets that the industry, manufacturing and services are the wealth generating people of this country. In addition to agriculture, they only generate the wealth for this country for any kind of programs for the government. So they must be supported at all costs. But unfortunately, the bureaucracy is slightly wired differently, and they put so many conditions, and compliances become a challenge for micro and small industries. The number of issues they have to comply with are any number, so they get bogged down. So my suggestion at this stage is the government, especially the chief minister, who has been quite liberal in granting other reliefs for many other businesses. He must take up this issue and make next 3 years completely compliance free for all MSMEs for the next 3 years, so that they can just concentrate only on revival and survival and revival and growth, instead of just breaking their heads on various aspects of compliance. This compliance must be at all levels, including the panchayats, village panchayats, or GST authorities, or all aspects of compliances, which become a big challenge for MSMEs. I know a lot of people who are sitting and listening would know the kind of travails they go through when they have to deal with such authorities for no fault of them. Even today, when all these MSMEs are going through such huge challenge, the attitude has not changed, and the demand on the small and medium scale industries for compliance and other issues are only growing, and they are not reducing. I think this is an area where there is a lot of work to be done. I'm very happy the government of Karnataka just yesterday issued the ordinance for new industries, setting up of new industries, where no compliance is required for the first 3 years for any new industry to set up. So on the similar lines, the government of Karnataka should completely put a hold on all compliances being checked by any kind of inspectorate for all the SMEs. This will certainly help them remove a lot of worry in their heads. The other issue is that though the government has provided additional working capital without any collateral, the stamp duty to be paid for doing the mortgage has not been considered at all. The MSMEs may not even have that money to pay the stamp duty, 2% stamp duty on mortgage. So here also the state government must come in and say, for this additional money what the MSMEs are going to borrow, they will waive the stamp duty because of the challenges faced by the COVID. That would send a real positive signals to the businessman that we are with you, and your health is going to be the health of the state and health of the country. When we talked about compliances, there is a lot of improvements taking place, but they are not good enough. The government departments have gone digital, but most of the time the digital uploading does not work, and I think the MSMEs have a tremendous amount of problem in dealing with this. I think they have to fix this at all levels whenever they are using digital media for compliances. Then the next aspect of the challenge for MSMEs is the labor.
Mr. Muralidhar, can you make it brief, sir? We have other speakers also.
I will take another 1 minute or 2 minutes. And then
Please.
yeah. So the other area where MSMEs have challenge and where the government can come in is the migrant labor. You see, there are a lot of industries where there are orders, there are no migrant labor is not available, and the labor costs have almost doubled. In real estate industry, I'm told the availability of all skilled manpower has gone down, and they are suffering because the labor charges they have to pay has gone almost double in some cases. So something has to be done in this. I do not know. I do not have a direct solution what it is. Something has to be done about this, and how government and the private sector can work hand in hand to bring the labor back to the industries as swiftly as possible is what is required. So from purely from running of an industry perspective, because I have industries in almost all 4 southern states, and I have industry out of the country also, I can tell you very well that if India has to compete and get a lot of further investment and grow at the desired levels, lot of things have to be done to support MSMEs in a big way. Thank you very much, Mr. Om Prakash. If there are any questions toward the end, I'll take the questions.
Thank you, Muralidhar, for your extensive speech and a well thought about process, and you have spilled the bean here, and it is up to the government and the financial institutions and the bank to really understand the pain areas. You have expressed that the MSME is bleeding all the way, start from manufacturing to compliance. So you have covered all the aspects. I think all the speakers have heard it. All the members here also might be acknowledging and facing the same problem. It was a real good gesture that you brought everything on the table. Now it is for the other speakers to really address that. Definitely, if the questions come, I think as from the industry perspective, you can answer it. You have also told, survival, revival, and then growth. Yes, today survival is the question. Revival is in the bank's hand. Growth is not in our hand. So we have to put all joint efforts. Now I think it's time for me to invite Ziaullah, IAS Director of MSME, who has joined. On to you, sir, for the keynote address. Mr. Ziaullah. Hello. Mr. Ziaullah there? Hello.
So the director has logged in, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not able to see him. Yeah.
Unmute him.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Shyam. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we'll start with the next speaker. Then director will join us later.
Okay. Then I will move on to the next speaker, Mr. M. Srinivasan. Can I invite you for the next speaker lot, Deputy General Manager, NISIC, and he will be talking about credit facility and other services to MSMEs and from NSIC. Mr. Srinivasan.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Om Prakash, Mr. Prithvi, BCIC, and friends and colleagues from the industry. It's good morning to you all, and it's really my pleasure that I'm part of this interaction. also thanks for the opportunity for having NSIC's perspective uh, in this scenario. Well, though the topic was more on banking finance, NSIC has been an agency is well knitted with the MSME sector, and anything and everything crisscrosses with us as a node as far as this MSME sector is concerned. So we NSIC has various facets to it, and we engage with the MSMEs in all aspects of their requirement. Considering the time factor, I would just broadly give a bird's eye perspective on what NSIC does and what else can be envisaged of NSIC as a support factor. Every MSME requires support at all stages, as I was mentioning, be it input or output. And we, coming under the Ministry of MSME, Government of India, we are a unique blend of promotional and commercial services being offered to the MSME sector. We have understood the the intervention levels. Like we have for the financial part, we do have the bankers playing a major role in that, and with the current packages and everything is available, there still are factors which may be beyond the control of the bankers also, or there may be areas where an MSME may look out to, not just limited to finance and other parameters. For example, in the past 3 months, we found that supply chain is a very major area where the MSME has been affected, or I wouldn't call that. I would be, as Mr. Muralidhar mentioned, we have a more positive perspective for the present situation. We can look at it as a hand of support which they envisage. Well, again, opportunities is in the eyes of the beholder, as I can just tweak that old saying. And we say, this was an opportunity where MSMEs also tried to gain a business advantage, and those who did not couldn't manage to, we try to support them in the cause. We have a government has come out with a service called Raw Material Assistance Program. What we do there is, we try to consolidate or aggregate the demands of MSMEs, and we try to strike a sourcing partner kind of an contraption, and we enter into MOU with various suppliers, and we try to facilitate supply of raw material to the MSMEs. For example, in Karnataka, we are playing a very big role in sourcing of steel. We have Ministry of Steel allocation and tie-ups with various primary manufacturers, including Vizag Steel Plant and SAIL. As we know, predominantly Karnataka, a lot of engineering industry are there, and who consumes steel in a very big way. We are supporting them in the procurement of steel on a cost-to-cost basis. And we also try to pass on all the discount benefits as a bulk procurer to the MSME sector. So this is a direct financial, I can call it even a pricing advantage, which we try to give to the MSMEs, which they can leverage for a better marketing advantage. As I said, not only limited to the being a department, we normally engage with the public sector and government departments. We also currently, going a bit out of the box kind of a scenario. We also started engaging with even private players in the market. We also tried. We are also trying with e-commerce platforms for sourcing material, so that we can give a better pricing advantage for the MSMEs. And the best part is that we also try to throw the inquiry, the MSME, whatever inquiry they get, we try to throw it in the market. We try to do a price ratification process also. So the advantage is given to the MSE. And the materials which we deal in is not only steel. We also are into aluminium. For example, NSIC has an MOU with NALCO, and all over the country, as a single purchaser, when we procure aluminium, the discount benefit that an MSME can get go up even 3,500 to 4,000 rupees per ton. A 10-ton procurer gets to have the advantage of even a 500-ton purchaser. So that is the kind of retailing which we try to do. As I said, why we went to the private players also is that there are a lot of retail demands for the MSMEs. They would need customized steel and all those stuff. So this we thought should be an added advantage for them to source customized products. We are also looking at copper as a material, and BCIC, I understand a lot of our members are also involved in aerospace and that kind of segment. You have been very active there. For defense, we have entered into an MOU with Midani. So this may be news to many people because they may have sourcing mechanisms from Midani. This can be a good opportunity for you to tap. So these are various factors, and we are open to source and try to tap other kinds of materials and facilitate them for the MSCs, and we also try to offer them some credit for such procurement. Now, apart from the material front, in fact, we also try to go to the government department market. We are also a statute body for registrations. Many of us will be registered with with NSIC. This is called a single point stores purchase program, where any micro small enterprise, only the micro and small enterprise are eligible for registration with NSIC. And if they get registered with NSIC, normally the PSUs and government departments have this procurement process. They have to go to the tender and all the stuff. If when they participate, when the MSCs participate in tender, they are required to pay the earnest money deposit. This is a very standard kind of a commitment fee, or what we call it, for any MSC to have an outlay towards every tender they participate. And this is also a big draw on the working capital as far as the micro small enterprise are concerned. So with NSIC's registration, they are given waiver from paying the earnest money deposit. And you can well imagine, even 2 out of 10 departments, if they are able to give this benefit, they get a very big, it's that much of an opportunity for a micro small enterprise to experiment with and explore. So this is one major tool, I can call it, for the micro small enterprise to engage with and explore. See, now the private markets are, as we all know, everybody is impacted, but government department markets are still one big area where we should start looking at, so that they have an equal share, or their market is spread and the market pie is shared equally among their various business aspects. So in fact, we have this public procurement policy also in place, where 25% of their procurements is mandated from this micro small enterprise. Not only that, there is a purchase preference benefit also being given. If the L1 is a non-MSC, and if the L2 is within the 15% price ambit, then the L2 can be called by the department to match the L1 price, and some share of the order can also be given to the L2 person also, subject to he being an MSC. So these are various aspects of the registration which they should definitely try. And of course, with the definition, I think from 1.7, many of us will be aware, the definition has gone for a change. Just for the benefit of those who may not be very adept with the new definition, 1 crore is micro investment in machinery. It's a composite definition. 1 crore up to investment in machinery up to 1 crore with a turnover of 5 crores is micro. Investment in machinery of up to 10 crores with a turnover cap of 50 crore is small, and up to 50 crore investment and up to 250 crore turnover is a medium enterprise. So there is one new registration. Earlier it was Udyogadhar memorandum. Now there is a new registration which has come across. It's called Udhyam registration. I would request all of the MSMEs who are there to re-register themselves in this new Udhyam registration. The portal is also there, udhyamregistration.gov.in. So this is one aspect. Apart from that, of course, our state department, MSC department, our director also would be, they are doing a fantastic job. And for delayed payments, they are free to approach that facilitation council, and they are addressing this requirement of delayed payments very effectively also. And there is one other portal called Sambandh portal, where if they get to register, they will get the details of all the procurements that are happening in the government departments. At least they get to understand see the number of public sector enterprise who are registered there, and what is their quantum of procurements that is happening. So this is as far as the government procurements are concerned, which are interrelated with NSIC's registration. And just one more aspect I wanted to pull in. We are having a credit facilitation service. earlier days, NSIC was involved. I'm talking years where we were helping capital equipment procurements and everything. Like we had higher purchase term loan, but NSIC donned the role of a facilitator, and we started entering into MOUs with various banks. And in fact, we have MOUs with even State Bank of India also, where we facilitate forwarding of proposals to these banks. Now banks are also having there are a lot of manpower constraints with everywhere, and so they do have their own limitations. The MSMEs also may not have the wherewithal to go and take up with the bankers. So NSIC having its as a years of experience, we handhold the MSMEs and try to make them understand the bankers point of view requirements for the documentation, and we also vis-a-vis handhold them in their documentation and put forth viable proposals to the bankers so that they can also consider them more positively. So this increases the prospect of credit access for any MSME. So these are broadly the various areas where NSIC is trying to intervene and support. And in fact, currently we are taking up, as I was talking about raw material, we are even looking at stainless steel as a material to source from Salem Steel Plant. We are trying to assess the requirements so that we can have a better negotiating prowess with stainless steel with Salem Steel Plant, so that we can give at even better rates and discount. In fact, during the lockdown period, I just wanted to quote one instance. One of the MSC, I'm talking when the lockdown was so vigorously implemented, they were given orders for manufacturing sanitizing storages. So we somehow managed to get stainless steel from Salem, despite the braving the odds with the pricing and everything. We tried to source those SS and material, and we ensured that the MSME was getting those materials at that point of time. We do have a godowns at Markley, where we try to we are handling copper, aluminium material, and we were ensuring all through that we were able to supply materials for those units who were operational, who were requiring materials desperately. So these are broadly the various factors where NSIC is involving itself and trying to support in facilitating the MSMEs. So we are more than happy to welcome any of your members to our office. We are at Rajajinagar. We'll be happy to take any questions you have and clarifications now and offline also and later also. Thank you, BCSAs, for this opportunity, and thanks once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Srivatsan. It was a real eye-opening session. We really did not know that NSIC is doing so much to MSME, and you have been a wonderful facilitator for various aspects. I think if an MSME from the inception is associates with you, they can have the right direction, is what I feel. Definitely, sir. We will. We had a very the gambit of services and facilitation you are providing. It's a very good organization. I would request all the members to definitely take help of NSIC. I think we should start this. Maybe we'll have a detailed session with you, sir, in the near future.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Mr. Sudha, Deputy General Manager, SME Department, SBI Regional Office, Bangalore, highlighting eligibility criteria and briefing on these schemes from bankers' perspective. Mr. Sudhanshu.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Prithvi, and good afternoon to the panelists and members of BCIC. Hello.
Take away the phone from near your camera. Yes.
So just to give a brief background of State Bank's association with MSME, as on date, State Bank Pan India, we have a MSME advance of roughly around 1,75,000 crore, which translates to roughly 15% of market share. In Karnataka state, we have a MSME portfolio of roughly 16,000 crore. So State Bank, being the pioneer bank in the country, has always been with the MSME from days together, not today or yesterday or not the COVID period. So thereafter, coming to the MSME, this COVID period, assistance. Pan India, State Bank has sanctioned 5 lakh units amounting to some 21,000 crore. Maybe 50% has been disbursed. And in Bangalore itself, Karnataka state itself, we have roughly 16,000 sanctions of around 1,100 crores. So this is about the fact during the entire lockdown period, our branches were working, giving assistance to MSME, export customer, everything. And we have liberalized lot of things like submission of stock statement online, or we have given some grace period. Then we are now that there is no end to the tunnel. So we are to be proactive. We are assisting the MSME to go to the electronic platform. So if this condition continues for say 6 months or 8 months or 1 year, at least their functions will not be hampered. So coming to our products, we are popularizing this contactless lending. Then CGTMSE up to 2 crore, because in MSME most of the case they don't have any collaterals. So that where we are taking help of CGTMSE, and most of the new proposals we are going for contactless lending, e-Mudra platform, then pre-approved loans up to as per criteria. And some 2-3 points I raise. MSME, our experience says they make a product, but quality of product and marketing is an issue for them. It is a challenge, and they are not cost effective. So in that way, as NSIC, they have a raw material procurement, which is a very good scheme. I hope most of the MSME or majority of MSME can be covered in some way or other. And coming to Mr. Muralidhar's question on interest rate, as such interest rate is coming down. When we compare with other developed countries, their inflation is very less or almost negligible. But our inflation is roughly 4.55%, not below that. So we have to encourage savings. We have to pay to the depositors. Savings bank some 3%, fixed deposit around 6%. So upon that there is a cost to lending. So in State Bank also average the interest rate now for MSME is roughly 9 to 10%, I believe. So that anyway RBI is seized of the matter. They have a formula how to price the MSME, and it is a transparent way. So I can assure the MSME customers that interest rate, whenever there is a reduction or something, it is being passed on to the customers. Then this stamp duty, as Mr. Muralidharan told, that is really an issue, and in the practically we are also, most of the loans we have sanctioned, but it is not getting disbursed because of the stamp duty. And another point, when we move forward to the electronic platform, MSME mostly they are single-handed or maybe maximum 2 people or 3 people. So how to make them more techno-savvy, that is becoming a challenge. We are organizing some workshop, but that half day or 2 hour workshop, this is just to give a guidance. But actually, I think the BCIC or organization like that, they can coordinate with some consultancy agency so that their IT level should go up, because when everything GST, income tax, everything is on online, so they have to be to some extent techno-savvy. I don't say they can become like big companies. So in bank also we face the same problem from the MSMEs. And coming to other products, State Bank always has been on the forefront of MSME lending, and we are from bank level. At least I joined here some 8 days back. During these 8 days, I have met at least in 4 meetings, and minimum 30 to 35 MSME customers. So we are interacting at our LHO level, grassroots level also, so that it is an opportunity for both. MSME, they are also benefited, they get, because they generate employment, they give some vital input to the society, and in return bank also gets some sustainable business. So always State Bank has always been in the forefront of MSME lending, and even from the top management we are also monitoring the performance of the branches, and I can assure you all the MSME members who are logged in State Bank, nearest State Bank branch, they can go and have their problems, and if anything is there, they can also contact me also, and my email is bgm.sme.lhoban@sbi.co.in. We will be very happy to get some suggestion, response, feedback, or some new opportunities to be taken up by State Bank. So I thank the organizers for giving State Bank the time slot to put my some thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sudhanshu. It was a good insight about the SBI's effort, and you had also mentioned some numbers that SBI has disbursed. Now we will take up the questions which some members have posted on the chat. First, I would like to, this question is for Mr. Chandramouli. Mr. Chandramouli, are there? Mr. Chandramouli of SIDBI?
Sir, Chandramouli has left, sir.
He's left, is it? Okay, fine, fine. So there were some questions about SIDBI. Okay, anyway.
Om Prakash sir. Director sir is there. You can invite.
Please come in.
Yeah.
Come in, sir. Prithvi is come in.
Yeah, director sir is already there. You can invite
Okay.
him, sir.
Yes. We have Jiaullah IAS, Director of MSME. Mr. Jiaullah, sir, kindly we invite you to deliver the keynote address on the topic, highlighting the eligibility criteria and briefing on the schemes from government perspective, sir. Prithvi is there?
I'm just calling him.
Okay. Quickly, we will go through the chat sessions. What the questions have been raised. There's one question by, I don't know who's the name. Okay. MSME definition includes service sector and eligible for guaranteed emergency credit line. May please approach the lending bank as per escalation mechanism. Mr. Sudhanshu, can you take up this question? He's asking about guaranteed emergency credit line.
What we did in State Bank, from back ended, we took all the MSME accounts, and as on 29th February, those who are not SMA 2 or 1 or 2, so we generated the pre-approved sanction letter from back end, and that was sent to the customer directly. And even branches also have the discretion to, if somebody has left out, branches also have the discretion to select the customer also. So in that way, even branches are also selecting customer in addition to what we have sent from back-ended, because it was a very massive exercise, some 5 lakh plus to be sent from branches. We thought it is impossible, so we took it from back-ended, and it was generated, system generated directly. It went to the customer. They have to just give an acceptance, and if somebody is left out, they can contact the branch, because the scheme is up to October 30. If some, I don't deny that there may be still some 2, 3, 4, 5 deficiency, so they can contact their parent where they are working, they are transacting, so the branch will take up. We are getting every day, we are getting addition from the branches also, in addition to what we have sent from back-ended.
So there is another question, whether the cooperative banks also can participate in this scheme. They are also allowed.
Cooperative bank, I'm not sure actually.
But NBFCs are allowed, I believe. They are also participating.
NBFC allowed, and yesterday I saw internally, I think from Kerala they have sent a suggestion to include State Finance Corporation for this GECL. I just going through some internal mail, so I am not sure about the cooperative banks.
Okay. Sir, another wide question is that the scheme only applies to the existing bankers and existing borrowers as on March end, and there is the criteria that they should have a minimum of 20 and above facilities, and they should not be an NPA. So,
Yes.
how about the non-borrowers who has also been a MSME for a long time, but they want to avail the fresh loan, fresh facilities? It is a no-no, or it is under consideration?
No, there will be, see, when why somebody is lending, because he does not have money. So somebody is without lending, there are so many cash risk persons. So when there, even we had that CECL, that immediate 10% we dispersed during March itself. There also we found so many MSME accounts, they have not utilized their existing limit only. Suppose somebody is having a 10 crore limit cash credit, the outstanding was hardly in lakh. So when that existing limit is not available, so there is no point of giving him additional facility.
And can you highlight
So
on the
when somebody
collateral,
is
sir?
not borrowing means, suppose, sorry? No,
Can you
that is
highlight
not
on
linked to any collateral. That 10% additional for SSI manufacturing activity, when there is a working capital is also involved. So everybody know that working capital, it is a very, very floating. Some fixed asset is created out of term loan, so bank has some sort of security, because we feel that immediately the machineries or land and building may not vanish, but current asset immediately it will vanish. The account, when stress is seen in the account. So there is no benchmarking for collateral for industry. Only for trading we have collateral norms, because collateral trading, everybody knows it is all, everything is floating. But for manufacturing activity, we don't have any minimum stipulation. But that depends on what is the activity and what fixed asset we are having for the term loan or whatever. And anyway, up to 2 crore we are getting the CGTMSE. For that we are never insisting for any collateral.
The previous speaker, Mr. Muralidhar, was pointing out, now we are in a phase of survival, but the bank seems to be more keen on revival. So how do we address this gap? Survival is
regarding this existing customer, whatever that CECL, that 10% immediately we gave during March itself, or this GECL which we are giving. So these are not linked to any additional collateral. But going forward, I don't think this situation is going to subside. My personal view, I don't see end of the tunnel. It will linger for at least another 6 months. So my views, my sense is visible revival we may see on the last quarter of this year, not before that. Let us be practical on that. So when even now for reassessment of the limits of existing customer, we are also not insisting on any audited balance sheet of 2020. We are going with audited balance sheet of March 2019 and a provisional of December 2019, not to before the pandemic. So on that basis, we are reassessing the limits of existing customer, where some customer may be requiring reduction in margin, or somebody may be requiring increase in the cover period. So naturally, the operating cycle has gone up because of this pandemic. So that we are doing that, and we are not insisting on any audited balance sheet post 31st March 2019.
Okay, sir. Another question which Mr. Srinu Lanka has brought. Our company is MSME as per new definition, but we are not yet registered. In this case, banks are supposed to give working capital assistance. Also, if banks are not giving, what is the alternative solution? Where do I go for assistance? Now that I am a MSME, where do I? He is asking for alternate sources.
No, registration part I am not sure, but this RBI has come out with the circular on 2nd July, and we have also sought the branches to update their system, and we will be updating from back end also, which will be in small, or which will be in medium, or which will be in micro. Any bankable proposal, no banker will leave it aside, because as everybody knows, liquidity is flush in the system across the bank and across the countries, the world. So banks, we are paying to our depositor, that we cannot stop. The borrower may stop our paying interest to us, but we cannot stop paying interest to our depositor. So any prudent banker will always be more than happy to book a business, a bankable and a sustainable business. So not a fly-by-night type of thing. So definition part on where to register, I am not sure. But any bankable position, because my previous assignment I was handling medium and large assets, so there was no question of this registration or all these things. But registration has nothing to do with the financing. Registration is for getting some benefit or something. And a bankable proposition, it is always to be considered by the bank.
Loan, whatever you are talking, this is we have to apply online, or the bankers will in principle send an approval. How does the sanction happen?
This contactless lending, there is a platform for that. I think that is for at least 1 year old audited balance sheet. 1 year balance sheet is required, then GST and some other statutory things are required they have to fill in that online. Then the proposal will be generated to the branch, and they will take a decision within 7 days.
Prabhakar, you need to you want to ask any question?
Yes, sir.
Prabhakar? Anybody who wants to ask a question, the speakers are available.
Sir, these cooperative banks have been asked to lend to MSMEs now, but there are no proper guidelines. Whether any big bank will come and help these cooperative banks? Because 75% of the lending and even the 50% of the loan book should be to weaker sections like that. It is a mandatory condition has come from Reserve Bank of India, and they are not in a position to take up this. The new MSME guidelines have been given to cooperative banks also, and they are asking from 1/7/2020 you are also supposed to lend to MSMEs only. Like that, 75% of their lending should be to priority sector and to MSMEs. So this the mandatory condition is there, and this regarding the subsidies or any supporting institutions and all those things, they are very silent on this. Just I wanted to know recent guidelines.
Sudhanshu sir, you have any insight on this?
No, because either the NSIC or State Bank of India or somebody should come and support. No idea, SIDBI or NSIC, they have to support, and they have to give clear guidelines to this, because this year itself we have to cross minimum 50% of our lending should be to priority sector. So in that sector, in that line, MSME loans are to be given. So there is no proper guidelines for this, and there is no different subsidy aspect, there is no refinance aspect, and there is no guarantee aspect also in this. That we wanted to know clearly, sir. That's all.
Anyway, now that these cooperative banks have come under the RBI purview, I think they should formulate something.
Yes, sir. This MSME revised definition circular came 2 days back. It addressed to even cooperative banks also, sir.
But the cooperative banks lending, as far as I know, we don't finance to the cooperative banks because they are close with deposits. Everywhere you might be seeing in the newspaper something is happening. So they are not starved funds, but whether they are giving to MSME or not,
it is made mandatory. It is now made mandatory, sir. That is the reason we are asking.
Okay.
Sudhanshu sir, one question is, under this scheme, whether all the bankers have been invited for any workshop, seminar by the regulators to make them aware?
That is on Apex level. Apex level they have disseminated, and even in when I was in my previous assignment, we had some consortium lending also. So there also we had a provision if some the consortium bank, there are suppose 2 banks to the account. So if the other bank is not wishing to disburse, then that we can take up. But it is to our customer only. New customer means it is not possible. If it is our customer and there are multi lenders, and that other lender is not disbursing, then that person we may take up. But MSME, there will be hardly any cases there, maybe 1 in 1,000 or 2 in 1,000, not more than that.
So participant, any other questions? We have Mr. Muralidhar, you have any questions, sir?
Yeah, I
have the statement.
With the DGM of State Bank, you see, he was saying that the interest rates are coming down and they have to pay interest to the deposit holders. That is why our interest rates are high. I slightly beg to differ with him. The spreads offered to the Indian banks are one of the highest in the world. The spreads offered and the kind of cushion they have from the other income is also very high. So the income for banks is not only from the interest, and the costs are not only the interest payments. So most of the international banks also are working on a smaller spread. Indian banks are not working on that smaller spread. In the bargain, the borrowers are paying the price for it. So this is one thing. Second thing is, even consumer durable loans, housing loans get a much lower rate of interest than SMEs sometimes. There is the rate of interest charged to SMEs are higher than even the housing loans, which cannot be explained, because SMEs are the productive assets and they are the people who generate wealth for the country. They should be given much better deal than others. At least they should be treated equally. I know that this is the government policy and the some of the bankers have no elbow room to change this. But I flag this issue because everyone has to understand that when the whole world is become a global village and we have to compete with industries from all over the world, each and every factor of cost becomes very critical, and interest cost could be the decider sometimes, because the credit when you are doing some exports and imports, credit becomes very expensive if you are borrowing in Indian banking system. This is what I wanted to flag, and I think this requires some introspection on the part of bankers and also the Reserve Bank and also the whole ecosystem of Indian financial markets, because the interest rates for borrowers or critical sectors must be lowered. That's it. Thank you.
As far as State Bank is concerned, whatever schematic loan, those are all administered rate. And the other MSME, I believe it is, I think might be around 9 to 10%, not beyond that, what I believe. And regarding housing loan, there you have a security aspect is there because the house is there. So there, and moreover, that depends on your credit score also. So if housing loan somebody, some salaried employee has taken, so that naturally credit score will be definitely better, and he will get a better rate. But anyway, State Bank has always been, and whenever there has been a reduction in repo rate, irrespective of repo rate also, recently there has been no repo rate cut for last, I think, 2 months. But recently we have reduced by 40 basis points. Maybe it is applicable from 1st July. So State Bank has always been in forefront for looking to this interest rate for MSME, and internally, in addition to the regulators' direction, internally also our top management is very sensitive to this. Even on the MSME day, our MD also interacted directly with the MSME customer. Some 4 or 5 customer each circle. So he interacted with the right from MD level. They are also interacting the MSME customer, and this thing also came up on that day also. So I assure you, we are always sensitive to this issue.
Sir, I agree with you that the ecosystem, the financial system is different here. Let me tell you something, sir. I have a manufacturing facility in Vietnam where we pay 1.5% is the rate of interest. We have a manufacturing facility in China where we make 3.75 to 4% is our rate of interest. Whereas we have a manufacturing facility in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, we pay almost 9% rate of interest. There is a 6% difference in rate of borrowing for us. There are so many factors involved. I'm not saying that it can be done at our level. So yes, I wanted to flag this. That's all.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Srivatsan, there is a query from the members who are attending. Srivatsan, there? Yeah, you're there. Yeah. So there is a query that for MSMEs, are there any concessions for submitting stock statements, drawing power calculation till this COVID lockdown eases? Because right now there are no revenues.
Sir, no. Frankly speaking, it's a banking perspective query. We would know it doesn't. We would not be able to have a knowledge on that. But still, it is.
You take it up, sir. These kind of queries keep coming.
But, no. As far as the credit, because our mandates are different mandates. However, what I would like to respond on this is that it is again the unit with the banker. It is an individualized perspective with the unit with the banker, and this is my perspective. I'm again saying, sir. What happens is that the drawing power calculation, everything. Of course, that is why the bankers have also been advised to give 20% more than what they are lending, and all these are with their existing, clientele. This question per se would be more to the existing clientele, and already there have been directives given for the bankers to go 20% over their banking. And in fact, I would like to what I gathered that SBI has been very dynamic as far as this 20% has been concerned. It is not just 20%, but it is in fact 10%. When the lockdown started, that time they had 10% and 20%. Some bankers have even advised that they can go to the extent of 30% over their bank. finally all this stock statement drawing power boils down to the extent of credit which they can avail from the bank, which I think has been directly addressed by this 20%, sir. But per se on the concession front,
Hey,
I
here
don't have knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Here regarding
Subhash,
stock
sir.
statement, during the lockdown period, we have told the customer they can send on email or stock will be there. What is current asset? Current asset is stock and receivable. So as on that date, at least they can have the stock, what is the stock available and what is the receivable available. So only thing is they may not be able to come to the branch. They can send by email. And even we have given some grace period during that period because people are unable to come. Some 2 month or 3 month grace period was also given. Even if you continue the DP, what is available as on 29th February. So those things bank has given the instruction and branches are following that. So for lack of stock statement, there should no customer should face any problem for operating his transactions.
Yeah, true. I agree with Dashab also. In fact, I think many institutions have been very, gracefully understanding the situation. Even we, when people had their registrations renewal falling during that part of time, we also gave them some time so that, even up to 30th of June, we had extended time for them to come and submit the papers. Even we verified the documents over mails. We did understand many people would not have connectivity, but all those things I think have been factors which they did take into account and can be, as Dasab also said, can be accepted and accommodated also.
Sir, any special benefits for the service sector, sir? A question has come for service sectors. Same rules applicable. There should be an existing borrower.
Existing borrower, unless he has some, so far suppose somebody has not taken any loan, means when I take a loan, when I go beyond my capacity, suppose I want to buy a car for say 10 lakh, I have 2 lakh with me, so I will go to the bank for a car loan. If I have entire 10 lakh, then I will not go to the bank for car loan. Subsequently, if some scheme comes, then I cannot say that I am deprived of that facility.
Okay. Sir, Sidbi is not there, right? Tamuli is left. Any questions? Any other questions from the participants? Any questions? There is a question, Sudhanshu again. We have taken a OD against FD. Is the MSME scheme applicable for this?
No. like now you might be seeing there is a lot of surge in gold loan, and today or yesterday I was seeing the newspaper, this Muthoot and Monopuram, they are doing business like anything because gold immediately is available and that process is very simple, and a lot of people, instead of coming for banking channel, even if existing borrowers also, that article I saw in some newspaper, there is a flood of with this gold loan activity, and likely because of against fixed asset we have given, that is not appraised as a business loan. That is for purpose might be for MSME, but that was not appraised. That is on the basis of security we have given the loan. So they are not covered under this scheme.
And this automatic approval of sanctioning the borrowers can no to this, or they have to avail? How is it, sir?
Regarding this contactless lending?
Yes.
No, contactless lending, there are some requirement like 1 year balance sheet, then GST registration number, then some they have to fill in the portal itself. Then it will generate a lead and it will be channelized to the concerned branch, and they have to take a decision in 7 days. So this is the contactless platform. Basically, the minimum thing required, they can go online instead of sending to the branch, or and that can be solved for future also. So that is a database type of thing.
Okay.
Ultimate lending, ultimate financing will be at the branch.
And those who are doing well with their balance sheets, any fresh loans can be augmented.
Yes, that I told sir, because we are insisting 31st March 2019 balance sheet is already there, and 31 December 2009 provisional. So with that we are doing the reassessment or whatever new proposal also we are doing on that line.
I'll try. Yeah. Muralidhar, I think you wanted to leave, I think, will you? Mr. D. Muralidhar?
Yes, Mr. Om Prakash, if you don't mind, I want to excuse myself.
Yeah, you have any passing comments, you can really leave it and go. I think you had brought all the problems to the table.
I know before flagging the problems, I thought I will talk about the positive things also. But one thing I want to congratulate BCIC, it was a very interesting program, a very useful program. And you did an excellent job, Om Prakash, in doing this program, coordinating this. And I really appreciate you. Congratulations to BCIC and all the speakers. So I may be excused now, sir. Please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Om.
Yeah, Sudhanshu sir, do you have anything to tell upfront to the members about the misconception that everybody is going to avail this loan? That is the whole misconception which is going across the MSME, that am I entitled? Everybody is entitled because the finance minister had sanctioned so big amount. What happens to the amount which is not disbursed? Will it go back?
But they, in the announcement itself, they are told that all working capital and term loan outstanding as on that date. So somebody does not have a outstanding on that date, so naturally there will be no benefit. But other than this financial assistance, even government has come out with so many things like reserving tender system up to I think 200 crore to Indian companies, all these things. So indirectly there are some other benefits to all the MSME, not only financial. And somebody, suppose because of this pandemic, maybe till last 10 years he was not requiring any finance, but now he foresees that he may be requiring some type of assistance. So any bankable proposal, any bank will be happy to consider. And somebody without finance, somebody has done this activity for last 10 years or 20 years. So that is the biggest asset for that MSME. That without any finance, they have survived or they have produced for last 10 years.
And as regards the task force meeting last time when we met, I had seen some private banks also participated in that, but they have not started the process. Especially Axis Bank, ICICI, and all have still they are way behind SBI. You have any comments on that, sir?
Yes, sir. One point is, see, we see at the top line and they see at the bottom line. Okay, so actually, very frankly speaking, the lower the ticket size of the loan, higher the cost of administering that loan. Because, for example, for a 5 lakh limit or a 500 crore limit, the process is same. No, not 5 lakh. I give an example of 1 crore and 500 crore. The process is same. Your process in appraisal, then in inspection, all these things, everything is same. But for a 500 crore loan, the cost of administration is very negligible compared to we earn from the account. But for a 5 crore or a 1 crore loan, the cost of administration is very high. Not, I will not say very high, but it is high. So maybe that may be a reason why these banks are not entertaining. That is my view, because they look at the bottom line. They don't look at the top line.
There is another interesting question which has come. I think again, Sudhanshu sir, you have to answer. I think you are the most wanted, preferred speaker here. Sir, due to the nature of our business, they are into exporters. We have a longer cash flow cycle and hence a high credit limit from bank. Since we have more than 25 crore, we do not qualify for automatic assistance. Our bankers say they cannot do anything. What can we do, sir? Is the question.
Automatic assistance means money, because the turnover is their limits are more than 25 crore.
Yeah,
That
Mr.
is,
Deepak, you are
see,
very
sir.
Mr. Deepak,
Yeah,
if you can, people can directly ask the question.
Om Prakash, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, Kashtaji, yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Now that government guarantee fund is available for 29th of February. Since
Yes.
SBI is here and the forward they have funded so much of MSMEs. Now a unit has received the payment on 27th or 28th of February. Whereas he has got outstanding on March 31st, huge than on 29th. What is the fate of this unit?
No, actually, if you ask personally, that should have been the government should have linked it with the limit or outstanding, whichever is higher. That should have been the ideal. But anyway, what the government has given the direction, because that much amount will be eligible for that guarantee. But as I told previously, even if somebody does not have a working capital facility as on that date, or now they want, because any loan you take, you have to pay interest. There is nothing free. So I repeat again, any bankable proposition, banks will be definitely happy to consider. And this criteria, this is given by the government. So I am no authority to change that. Even State Bank as a whole, we don't have the authority to change that. We are also getting same type of question from our customer also. As on that date, my outstanding was less, so I am not eligible. Or I could have been eligible for 5 crore, now you are giving me 1 crore. So that thing, that is out of our purview, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Om Prakash, one suggestion for BCIC. I think BCIC should take up to the MSME as well as the Revenue Minister on the extra loan which is now government guarantee fund to exempt the stamp duty. I think we have to take up immediately. Yes. I think the bankers are the sanction and they are not able to disburse because there is a bank duty, stamp duty involved. I think we have to take it on emergency basis to the government for exempting the stamp duty on this kind of loan. I think Om Prakash will have to take it up.
Yeah, definitely, sir. I will put a representation, but I really doubt whether the government will lose this revenue.
No, it's a very peanut here. That revenue is a peanut. It is only a facility for MSME. Because when the central government is given so much of facility, when state government is given nothing. They are only busy in working on COVID-19. They are not doing anything for MSME.
There is another question. This is to Mr. Srivatsan. Mr. Srivatsan, you are there?
Yes.
See, this question is, whether NSIC has any scheme or benefit for the service sector.
For the service sector, actually, we are. I'll tell you as a. We are registering service sector because our NSIC registration is not only limited to the manufacturing sector, it is also supporting the service sector per se. And my credit facilitation is also directed at the service sector. We don't have any limitations on that. We also have another e-marketing or e-commerce platform. We call it B2B portal, Infomediary Services. See, what happens is that when we are looking for information, there are a lot of department and people who come visit us for the information on who's doing what. So it's the authenticity is also lent by the government department channel. So many people come and visit us. So we thought, why not utilize it as a marketing platform for the MSCs? So what we have done is we have created a B2B portal where we give access for all the trade inquiries which we get, all the export inquiries and the leads which we get. We give access for the MSCs in that. They also can create their own URL. So that is, in fact, even for traders, we are offering space in that, and we are offering that platform. So service sector per se, we can register those units. We can in fact entertain them under the credit facilitation part of also. They are also welcome to get themselves enrolled in the B2B portal also, sir. Yeah.
Mr. Om
Thank-
Prakash,
thank-
I have to leave for a meeting at 1 o'clock. Can I excuse myself?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for being with
And
us.
I have shared my email ID. Anybody can contact me at that dgmsme.lhoban@sbi.co.in.
Okay, sir. Okay. We will definitely,
Thank you.
whatever questions come, we will directly share your email IDs to our members. They will get in touch with you.
Sure.
Thanks for your time, sir. Valuable time,
you.
and definitely we appreciate your all the questions you had able to give light on it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. All the best.
Mr. Prithvi, you're there?
Yeah, very much.
Shyam?
Yeah,
So
we're there,
we-
Om Prakash.
Can we conclude the session? How is it?
Yeah, please, you can conclude.
Okay. So I think the members who are here almost we have come to the closing session. Hope all of you benefited with this various speakers who spoke on the pressure points, the disbursement of the loans, and the eligibility criteria of this MSME sanction scheme. So various questions were asked by all the participants. At least some 10 to 15 questions were addressed, and the SBI Mr. Sudhanshu had taken all the questions. Thank you very much, sir, and Mr. Srivatsan, who had given the insight of what NSIC do in association with MSME and how they assist and facilitate on various pressure points. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for highlighting. And Mr. Muralidhar, though he's not here, he has given the overall struggle, and he has also told today survival is the most biggest challenge, and after that only the revival comes, and then the growth phase. And he also told that the MS are the people who will create the wealth. That was a positive thing, and I think the bankers are going to help us a lot going forward. And Mr. Chandramouli, who gave the outline about what SIDBI does about the MSME packages. So he gave various schemes about how it operates. So thank you, sir. I think he's left for the day, and he has also given the insight about various facilities available, the moratorium, the collaterals, all those details he has summarized. And with this note, I think we are also coming to an end, and we are sorry about that. Mr. Ziaullah, IAS Director of Directorate of MSME, was not able to participate, though he wanted to join us. Maybe we will come back a little later on this. And thank you very much for all participating in this session. And we would like to this session now, and the meeting stands adjourned. Prithvi, you have anything to say?
Yeah, Dr. Om Prakash, we like to also thank you for curating this session and moderating the entire thing. We like to thank you on behalf of the chamber. We also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. H.M. Srinivas, Additional Director for MSME. He was there for the whole day, but he said he will not be able to speak, but he was there for us, and he has taken some valuable inputs from the MSME perspective. hope that they will come out with some good suggestion inputs for the benefit of the industry. And hope all of us have a good weekend. Anything to add, Om Prakash?
Yes.
Thank you.
Safe weekend. Actually, people should not go out.
Safe weekend. Now, most of them are heading towards Chikmagalur and Kodagu, and the localites are not allowing them to come.
Oh, that's a very bad sign, because people are flooding here and there. They want to celebrate or enjoy.
True.
I think house is the best place now. Stay safe, and we thank all the sponsors who had made this program a success. Thank you very much, sir. We will come back with more speakers on the same topic. I think this topic will go for another 3-4 months. So we will be back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Om Prakash.
Thank you.
Thank you.